Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breech coming to you. Last night we saw what looks to be the end of an era with Triple H sort of canceling the brand extensions of SmackDown at Raw, pretty much putting everybody on the shows, calling them Super Raws and Super SmackDowns. He said it was for the next foreseeable future, not really, forever. But looking back on how good it was when they actually split Raw and SmackDown, when this first happened, I honestly hated it. I didn't like the fact that they were separating matchups that we'd never be able to see again. And we always said that it's WWE and WWE will do whatever they want. And, we didn't really think it was going to last that long because how many people that were, outraged about it. But sometimes, WWE just pushes something to the point where they tell you that you're going to like it, and that's how it is. And, they found their ways around it. They gave us dream matches at Mania. And then they later came out to give us, the bragging rights pay-per-view, where they gave us SmackDown versus Raw. They did a couple Survivor Series events that had really good build up to them, where faces and heels sort of bonded together for brand unity. And I always thought those were really really fun. When they spiced it up by adding the draft in '04 and '05, I really really liked the way they did those. In '04, they had the two GMs of each brand, and they actually made selections on who they were bringing over to the show. '05, they made selections, but they didn't make it all on one show. They made it, over a period of weeks where they had two champions on one show for a while, with John Cena being the number one pick, being drafted to Raw, as well as Batista being there, and letting us sit through however many weeks it was, 4 weeks or so of TV before Batista finally being moved over to SmackDown. I didn't really like, having to sit there week in and week out to see what was going on, because mainly it was just the first pick and the last pick that really, made big splashes. There was a couple picks along the way that, that were good, but it just is what it is. But it's going to be really, really good to see everybody slam packed on Raw and everybody slam packed on SmackDown. There's no secret to right now that the WWE needs to think about spicing up SmackDown before it gets pummeled. I guess you can say there's no secret to saying that UFC is going to be going over to FX, and they're going to be putting up their reality show up against SmackDown. So they need to find a way to really really gain their core viewers, the people that are going to watch wrestling and say that they're going to skip out on UFC or they're going to watch it later. Um, with me, I'm not the biggest UFC fan, but I know there's going to be a splash with them going up against WWE. I'm going to pick WWE every day. I have no knock against UFC. I know that it's one of the biggest growing sports out there, and I understand why a lot of people like it. I just, for some reason, I like wrestling more than UFC. It's an easy switch over from watching fake fighting to go to watch real fighting, but I just never really got into it. All my friends that I work with and my family and stuff, they all love it and talk about it. And I know enough to carry on a conversation, but that's just about it. I would love if they were able to move SmackDown to a live slot on Tuesday, and it would just make it more fun. It would make it I guess you can say more than watchable again. I always sort of find a way to watch SmackDown, but very rarely is it ever on Fridays. Most of the time, it's real late on Saturday or even later on Sunday. Um, a few times I've watched SmackDown after I've watched Raw, and even then I don't really watch the whole show. I just watch the stuff that people are talking about that I know I need to hit. It's just a tape show is just not a must-watch TV. I would love it if they would find a way to put this show on Tuesday and spice it up and spice it up just by being live and raw. Um, that would be excellent. I think that's the next must do thing for the WWE if they want to get that big boost in the ratings. I think it's a must have. Um, the one things that I see, I think this is good for the Divas division. It finally makes sense. While they dropped the women's title and they went straight with the Divas title, they have a lot of chicks on the roster, and it doesn't really make sense. If they're not in the mix right now, I guess right now you can say if you're not Eve, Kelly, the Bella Twins, or Natalia or Beth Phoenix, if you're in a match, it really doesn't matter. And if they're all going to be on one show, I guess you know who matters and you know who doesn't matter. You know you're gonna get to see Cena and you're gonna get to see Orton and CM Punk and Triple H and all that. Those guys are gonna get pushed to the top. But you know, over the last year, you can say that people have been, getting their pitchforks and their lighters up, saying they want to see Zack Ryder. Um, we're gonna see guys like Zack Ryder few and far between now, and it's gonna be harder for guys like Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd, guys that were having good matches on SmackDown and I guess you can say NXT. It's gonna be harder for them to scratch the surface and get on TV anymore because you know those other guys are gonna get their matches on Raw and SmackDown. They're gonna push these guys because they know it equals ratings, but going back to WWE trying to establish and find new stars, they're gonna have to find a diamond in the rough. It's gonna have to be like the CM Punk situation. You're gonna have to see guys that have a following and that are just on the crisp, and then just miraculously, I guess you can say, just get pushed to the top. I mean, CM Punk did that sit down interview on the stage where he just blasted everybody, and that shot his popularity up through the roof, made him a must see TV sort of guy, a must be main eventer, and there's going to be less TV time for guys like this, and that's the one thing that's got me scratching my head and questioning them. But I've questioned WWE millions of times, and a lot of times they've proved me wrong. So we'll go from here, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on the canceling of the brand extension. Everybody being on. Whether this is going to lead to any sort of I guess you can say bragging rights sort of thing with the I guess you can say the two locker rooms still being divided, Team Raw and Team SmackDown, and maybe we'll get some matches out of it this way. They got to be doing something, so we'll figure it out.